When Eddie Morales became Las Vegas's most trusted locksmith, homeowners gave him keys to their most precious possessions. But when his opioid addiction and burglary network consumed him, he began copying keys and murdering witnesses who discovered his crimes, turning lock repairs into deadly home invasions. Before starting the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Now let's get back to the video. The Nevada desert heat shimmered across Las Vegas suburbia as Eddie Morales organized lockpicks and key-cutting equipment for what would become the most dangerous house call of his 15-year career as Nevada's most experienced residential locksmith and security specialist. At 43 years old, Eddie had established himself as Las Vegas's premier lock and key professional, specializing in high-security installations and emergency lockout services that attracted wealthy homeowners, casino executives, and entertainment industry professionals who valued his expertise in advanced locking systems and his reputation for discreet, reliable service during security emergencies. Eddie's locksmith business operated from a converted garage workshop in Las Vegas's Henderson district, featuring specialized key-cutting machines, electronic lock programming equipment, and an extensive inventory of high-end security hardware that allowed him to handle the most sophisticated residential and commercial security installations throughout southern Nevada. His clientele included high-roller casino patrons requiring ultra-secure home installations, entertainment industry executives needing discreet security upgrades, and wealthy retirees whose valuable collections demanded the most advanced protection systems available. The interior of Eddie's workshop reflected his mastery of lock and key technology and his understanding of security-conscious clients' expectations for both advanced protection and absolute confidentiality. Featuring walls lined with hundreds of different lock types, advanced electronic security systems, and reference materials for the latest developments in residential security technology. His work van displayed locksmith certifications, security specialist credentials, and testimonials from grateful customers whose homes and businesses had been secured through his expertise during emergency situations and security upgrades. But beneath Eddie's reputation for security excellence lay a dangerous combination of opioid addiction, systematic burglary operations, and calculated murder that had transformed his locksmith services into criminal enterprises where threatening homeowners and suspicious investigators met their fate through staged break-ins using copied keys and insider knowledge. "Good afternoon, Mr. Morales," said Catherine Harrison, his 2 o'clock appointment, and a 68-year-old retired entertainment executive whose luxury home required comprehensive lock upgrades following a recent neighborhood break-in that had prompted her to invest in advanced security systems. Catherine was worth approximately $25 million from her successful talent agency and had specifically chosen Eddie because of his reputation for installing the most sophisticated residential security available and his discretion about celebrity clients' protection needs. "Good afternoon, Mrs. Harrison," Eddie replied with the security expertise and professional reliability that had made him legendary among Las Vegas's privacy-conscious elite who viewed him as both locksmith and security consultant, capable of providing absolute protection while maintaining complete confidentiality about their valuable assets and security vulnerabilities. "I've brought the new high-security lock cylinders and electronic access control systems we discussed. These installations will provide museum-level protection for your art collection and jewelry vault." Catherine had become Eddie's most dangerous customer, not because of her demanding security requirements or her valuable collections, but because of her recent discovery of suspicious activities around her property and her growing awareness of the systematic burglary operations that Eddie had been conducting using copied keys and insider knowledge gained during security installations. What Catherine didn't know was that Eddie had been systematically robbing clients and murdering witnesses for over 4 years, using his locksmith expertise and access to security systems to conduct inside theft operations while eliminating anyone who discovered his criminal activities. Eddie's transformation from trusted locksmith to calculating killer had begun 6 years earlier when his prescription opioid addiction had escalated from legitimate pain management following a workplace injury to daily dependency on fentanyl and other powerful narcotics that consumed his locksmith business profits and forced him into desperate relationships with organized crime figures who controlled Las Vegas's drug distribution networks. His addiction had grown to cost over $400 per day, while his involvement in burglary operations had generated substantial profits that attracted the attention of both law enforcement agencies and rival criminal organizations. Faced with increasing pressure from drug suppliers and potential exposure by suspicious customers, Eddie had begun using his locksmith access to conduct systematic burglary operations, copying keys during legitimate service calls and coordinating with criminal organizations to rob wealthy clients while using his inside knowledge of their security systems, valuables locations, and occupancy patterns to ensure successful thefts that would generate income to support his drug habit. His criminal activities had escalated when several homeowners had discovered evidence of key duplication and had threatened to report their suspicions to law enforcement agencies, investigating sophisticated burglary patterns targeting Las Vegas's wealthy residential communities. Eddie had murdered his first victim, a prominent businessman who had detected unauthorized key copies in his security system, by staging a fatal home invasion using the victim's own copied keys to gain entry and eliminate the witness while making the death appear as random criminal violence. The success of his first murder had convinced Eddie that eliminating suspicious clients and threatening investigators was both necessary for protecting his theft operations and relatively easy to accomplish, given his security expertise and access to clients' homes through legitimate key and lock services. Over the following 4 years, Eddie had murdered 11 additional individuals using various methods that took advantage of his locksmith knowledge, his access to clients' security systems during vulnerable installation and repair situations, and his ability to stage break-ins using copied keys and insider information to make deaths appear as random criminal activities rather than targeted murders. His victims had been carefully selected based on their discovery of his criminal activities, their potential cooperation with law enforcement, and their security arrangements that provided opportunities for staged robberies and murders. His victims had included Dr. Patricia Williams, a security consultant who had been investigating patterns of inside information theft and whose home security system had been bypassed using copied keys during a fatal break-in. Jennifer Martinez, a wealthy socialite who had discovered Eddie's key copying activities and whose death had been staged as a home invasion that occurred despite comprehensive security systems. And David Foster, a federal investigator who had been tracking organized burglary operations and whose security consultation had ended in fatal assault using information Eddie had gained about his personal protection systems. Eddie, I need to discuss some serious concerns about suspicious break-ins and reports of inside information theft connected to your locksmith services, said Detective Lisa Rodriguez of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department's Burglary Division, as she arrived at Catherine's house carrying a warrant to inspect Eddie's equipment and interview him about suspicious activities. Detective Rodriguez specialized in investigating sophisticated burglary operations and had developed expertise in recognizing patterns of inside information theft that exploited locksmith services and homeowners' trust in security professionals. Detective Rodriguez's investigation represented an existential threat to Eddie's criminal operation, as her law enforcement expertise and access to burglary databases could expose the systematic key copying operations and connect him to multiple suspicious break-ins and homeowner deaths. Of course, Detective Rodriguez, Eddie replied, though he felt the familiar surge of opioid withdrawal anxiety and criminal desperation that accompanied any official scrutiny of his locksmith operations by law enforcement officers who possessed the training and resources to detect evidence of key duplication and systematic murder disguised as random burglary activities. Security and customer protection are always my highest priorities, and I want to cooperate with any investigation that might help protect homeowners and ensure that locksmith services operate according to all applicable professional and legal standards. Detective Rodriguez consulted detailed reports from burglary investigations and security analysts that showed patterns of sophisticated break-ins and security system bypasses that suggested systematic inside information operations rather than random criminal activities or external security breaches by unknown perpetrators. Eddie, I've been investigating reports of sophisticated burglary operations that appear to be using inside information from Locksmith and security services, Detective Rodriguez said, with the investigative precision that had made her successful in solving complex property crime cases. 11 individuals who were clients of your locksmith business have been victims of sophisticated break-ins that show evidence of copied keys and detailed knowledge of security systems, with several of these incidents resulting in homeowner deaths that occurred immediately after the victims had expressed concerns about potential security breaches or key duplication. The detective's identification of the inside information patterns and her recognition of the timing correlation between security concerns and criminal incidents confirmed Eddie's worst fears that his criminal activities had been analyzed and connected to a systematic elimination of suspicious clients and potential witnesses to his organized burglary operations. Eddie's response was swift and deadly as he realized that eliminating Detective Rodriguez was essential for protecting his criminal enterprise and preventing exposure of his systematic theft and murder operations. Detective Rodriguez, I think there may be some misunderstanding about the inherent limitations of residential security systems and the unfortunate reality that determined criminals can sometimes overcome even the most sophisticated lock and key protection, Eddie said while discreetly reaching for a lockpick that he had modified with a spring-loaded mechanism for injecting concentrated carfentanil for emergency elimination of law enforcement threats. Perhaps we could examine some specific security installations where I can demonstrate the protection procedures that might explain these apparent security failures. Professional locksmith work involves complex systems that might appear suspicious to those unfamiliar with advanced security technologies and protection protocols. Detective Rodriguez agreed to examine Eddie's security installations, not realizing that the locksmith was leading her to an isolated area of the house where previous murders had been committed and where Eddie planned to inject her with the carfentanil using his modified lockpick during what would appear to be a routine demonstration of security procedures. Eddie's plan involved convincing Detective Rodriguez to examine specific lock mechanisms while explaining security technologies, then using his modified pick to inject the carfentanil directly into her bloodstream, causing fatal respiratory depression that would appear to be a heart attack brought on by the stress of investigating complex criminal cases rather than deliberate murder by a locksmith protecting his burglary operations. But Eddie's carefully planned murder of the detective was about to be prevented by the unexpected arrival of federal agents who had been investigating opioid trafficking networks and had identified connections to his locksmith business. Special Agent Jennifer Walsh of the DEA's Prescription Drug Diversion Division had been conducting a comprehensive investigation into opioid trafficking and addiction-related crimes that exploited legitimate service businesses to support drug habits while committing systematic theft and violence to fund addiction. Agent Walsh specialized in investigating addiction-related criminal enterprises and had developed expertise in tracking service professionals who use their business access to commit crimes while supporting drug dependencies. The federal investigation had been initiated by reports from multiple healthcare providers and law enforcement agencies who had noticed patterns of opioid-related crimes and suspicious deaths that suggested organized criminal networks were exploiting addicted service professionals to conduct systematic theft while eliminating potential witnesses to their drug-related activities. Agent Walsh had been conducting surveillance of Eddie's drug procurement activities and criminal behavior and had documented evidence of systematic opioid abuse, involvement in burglary operations, and suspicious patterns of client deaths that suggested his locksmith expertise was being used for organized criminal activity rather than legitimate security services. Eddie Morales, I'm Special Agent Walsh with the DEA, she announced as she entered the isolated area where Eddie was preparing to murder Detective Rodriguez. I have federal warrants for your arrest on charges of prescription drug trafficking, systematic burglary, conspiracy to commit murder, and multiple counts of first-degree murder related to your systematic exploitation of locksmith services for criminal theft operations and elimination of potential witnesses. Eddie's reaction to the federal agent's intervention was a combination of opioid-induced desperation and attempts to maintain his locksmith authority, as he realized that law enforcement agencies at multiple levels had been investigating his drug activities and had connected them to systematic client murders and organized theft operations. His carefully maintained reputation as a trusted security professional had failed to protect him from comprehensive investigation by agencies with expertise in addiction-related crimes and systematic violence. Special Agent Walsh, there must be some serious misunderstanding about legitimate locksmith operations and the complex security challenges involved in protecting Las Vegas residents from sophisticated criminal threats, Eddie said frantically, while abandoning his plan to inject Detective Rodriguez and attempting to preserve some semblance of professional credibility, despite the overwhelming evidence against his criminal activities. I am a licensed locksmith with 15 years of experience providing security services for Las Vegas's most prominent residents and business leaders. All of my locksmith operations comply with established professional standards and legal requirements designed to protect clients while ensuring property security and personal safety. Detective Rodriguez looked absolutely shocked as she realized how close she had come to being murdered by the locksmith she had been investigating for organized burglary. Her theft investigation had not only exposed Eddie's systematic burglary and murder operation, but had also prevented her own death at the hands of a killer who had been using locksmith services as cover for systematic elimination of clients and law enforcement threats. The comprehensive investigation that followed Eddie's arrest revealed the full scope of his criminal enterprise and the sophisticated methods he had developed to exploit locksmith expertise for systematic theft and murder. Forensic analysis of Eddie's locksmith operations revealed extensive evidence of his burglary coordination activities, including thousands of illegally copied keys organized by address and client information, sophisticated surveillance equipment for monitoring target properties, and detailed records showing the timing and execution of burglary operations coordinated with criminal organizations. His workshop contained modified locksmith tools for criminal use, stockpiles of opioid drugs, and comprehensive files containing security information on wealthy clients who had been targeted for systematic theft and murder. The investigation also uncovered Eddie's connections to organized crime figures who had been using his locksmith services as an intelligence-gathering operation for planning sophisticated burglary operations throughout southern Nevada. His criminal network included corrupt security professionals who had provided additional inside information, dishonest fence operations who had purchased stolen goods, and drug suppliers who had provided opioids in exchange for theft coordination and witness elimination services. Most disturbing was the discovery of Eddie's detailed knowledge of residential security vulnerabilities and his development of increasingly sophisticated methods for bypassing protection systems while staging burglary operations to appear as random criminal activities rather than coordinated inside jobs involving security professionals with legitimate access to clients' homes and valuables. Eddie Morales was ultimately convicted of 12 counts of first-degree murder, systematic burglary, prescription drug trafficking, conspiracy to commit organized criminal enterprise activities, and numerous other charges related to his exploitation of locksmith services for criminal theft operations and elimination of potential witnesses. The conviction sent unprecedented shockwaves throughout Las Vegas's locksmith and security industry, prompting immediate reforms in locksmith licensing, client protection protocols, and addiction prevention measures designed to protect homeowners from exploitation by trusted security professionals struggling with drug dependencies and criminal associations. Several other locksmiths and security specialists were investigated for similar criminal activities, resulting in enhanced oversight of security operations and new requirements for background screening, drug testing, and ongoing monitoring that made it more difficult for criminals to exploit locksmith services for systematic theft and murder. Detective Rodriguez and Special Agent Walsh received recognition for their collaborative investigation and became specialists in security industry crime investigation, developing new techniques for identifying organized theft operations and protecting clients from exploitation by criminal security professionals. Catherine Harrison and other surviving clients required extensive security consultations and alternative protection services to overcome the trauma of learning that their trusted locksmith had been systematically copying their keys and murdering clients while exploiting his security access for organized criminal activities. The locksmith industry implemented comprehensive new safety protocols designed to protect clients from exploitation by unethical security providers. The case prompted comprehensive changes in locksmith industry regulation, including mandatory background checks and drug testing for all locksmiths, enhanced oversight of key duplication activities, real-time monitoring of security installations, and new reporting procedures for suspicious locksmith behavior, involving client security or potential theft indicators. Eddie's conviction also led to increased cooperation between locksmith industry organizations and law enforcement agencies investigating organized crime, with new protocols designed to identify security services that might be exploiting their client access for systematic criminal activities while eliminating potential witnesses to their theft operations. The locksmith and broader security services industries implemented revolutionary new safety measures, including enhanced screening procedures for security professionals, comprehensive client protection programs, mandatory reporting of suspicious security activities, and improved training for recognizing signs of addiction and criminal behavior among security providers. 5 years after Eddie's conviction and life imprisonment, Las Vegas's locksmith community continued to implement safeguards designed to protect clients from security professionals who might abuse their positions of trust and access authority for criminal purposes. The locksmith, who had promised to protect homes and secure valuable possessions, had instead used his security expertise and key access to commit systematic theft and murder while exploiting homeowners' trust and vulnerability during security installations and emergency lockout services. However, his crimes had been thoroughly exposed and his victims had found justice through the dedication of investigators who refused to accept security-related deaths as mere coincidental criminal activities. Eddie Morales' last key had unlocked his permanent imprisonment, where he would serve multiple life sentences without possibility of parole, proving that even security professionals who attempted to exploit their protection expertise for criminal gain could be identified, investigated, and brought to justice when dedicated law enforcement agencies work together to protect innocent homeowners from predatory security providers. The locksmith's last key had opened the final door to justice, serving as a lasting reminder that those entrusted with securing our homes must never abuse that sacred responsibility, and that security professionals who would exploit client trust for criminal gain will ultimately face the full consequences of their betrayal of protection ethics and community safety. Thank you very much for listening. Please let us know what you think of this story in the comments. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any other videos.